Welcome to CityArtWalk. The City of Renton is dedicated to being a center of opportunity in the Puget Sound region where families and businesses thrive. In support of that vision, the city recognizes the importance and benefit of providing art to the public. Renton's public art reflects its history, diversity, values, and personality. In addition to enhancing the quality of life of its residents, arts and culture are also important as a business sector that contributes to the economy. The City of Renton is committed to the inclusion of art in city-built projects and has allocated 1% of the city's project cost to the acquisition of art. The Renton Arts Commission acts as an advisory board to the mayor and the city council in the selection of art acquired by the city. There are 12 members, including one under the age of 21. Each member is from an art-related field, serves a 3-year term, and does so without compensation. Today we will visit some of the artworks that are a part of the City of Renton's art collection.
Hi, I'm Pat Pepper, Chair of the Renton Municipal Arts Commission. I'm here today with Philip Levine's sculpture, Interface, at the Jean Coulon Memorial Beach Park on Lake Washington Boulevard. The cast silicone bronze sculpture was purchased in 1981 and dedicated on September 25, 1982. Mayor Barbara Shimpo congratulated the Arts Commission on their selection of the art piece, but the figure's lack of clothing created considerable controversy when it was first installed.
Well, I grew up here, 20 years ago, and we don't live here anymore, but we still come back and bring our kids, and we like to come at Christmas time and see clam lights and see the statues all decked out in their hats and scarves and winter clothes so that they're not naked for the Clam Lights Festival. Griffin likes to just climb on the statues and pull on their fingers and check them out and see which side's front and which side's back and which one's girls and which one's boys. If they weren't here, I think it would look kind of funny. The statues have always been at the park.
The technical process shown in the work expands on the lost wax process for bronze casting. In this process, a sculpture may be formed with any material. The sculpture is then molded. A wax form is made from the mold, and then the carbon material is burned out before the bronze is poured. Many materials such as wood, cardboard, cloth, string, rope, some plastics, and wax are all used for the lost carbon technique.
A Northwest resident for the past 4 decades, sculptor, painter, and craftsman Philip Levine has taught, exhibited, and placed commissioned public artworks in Washington, Oregon, California, New York, Connecticut, and Colorado, including 30 in Western Washington alone. His graceful sculptures manage to look spontaneous and settled at the same time. His use of bronze with its density and strength expresses timeless lightness and grace. Levine's work is inspired by the worlds of dance, song, sport, and social commentary, and reveals his deep interest of the figure in movement. One of the wonderful things about public art is how nature, animals, and people interact with it. Public art becomes part of the landscape and part of the environment. It is there to be enjoyed by everyone.
My husband and I both grew up in Renton, and we have many pictures by this sculpture. We have one when my daughter was about 3 as a toddler. We have pictures of her with it. And when my sister-in-law got married, her pre-wedding pictures, we all came down here, her engagement pictures, and we have pictures with the sculptures and all over the park. So we appreciate the art. We love it. We love the Renton parks. Can't be beat.
I live around here, so I come around probably 5 times a month usually, just to either walk around or enjoy it. And I enjoy seeing the artwork around here because they honestly remind me of myself. They have very long legs and short torso, and I've always had extremely long legs, and so I enjoy seeing that. And I don't know, it's enjoyable to have something around that actually like has heart to it, you know what I mean? Something that actually shows that someone put work into it, and I like to see that. I'm going to be a welder myself, so I enjoy seeing art and I enjoy being around it, and so I think it's very cool, and I like seeing stuff that people put their hard work into that I can enjoy and relate to.
What do you think of the sculpture?
I think it's really cool. And
What do you think?
I think it's really beautiful, and I like looking at them, and it's cool.
We all think it's cool.
As we move on from Interface at Jean Coulon Memorial Beach Park, we come to the piazza. The River by Richard C. Elliott is located at the City Center parking garage in downtown Renton. 2 layers of reflectors are adhered to clear 6-foot wide plexiglass panels. These panels were placed in the windows of the elevator shaft of the City of Renton's municipal parking garage. River winds its way 76 feet up the structure, much in the same way the Cedar River winds its way through Renton. Richard C. Elliott was widely recognized in the Northwest for his large-scale installations created by means of a unique patented process using thousands of industrial reflectors. His artistic style utilized light, color, and radiant geometric patterns. The industrial-grade reflectors allowed him to paint with light. The reflectors capture light and spin it back out toward its source. Elliott combined this light-active medium with 2-dimensional geometric designs as a way of echoing the patterns within us to create a meditative and instinctive response of harmony. A reflective light painting reflects nature on both the macro and micro levels. Influences on Elliott's work include his experiences as a Vista volunteer with the Eskimos in Alaska and the Makah tribe in Washington. Leaving River, we head over to its namesake, the Cedar River, to see some of the public art that is along the banks and trails. Wolves at Indian Baskets is located along the Cedar River Trail. The work is a cautionary bronze sculpture depicting wolves in an overturned berry basket. The theme of the sculpture was taken from an anecdotal tale of Indian berry pickers contained in Clarence B. Bagley's History of Renton. The sculpture was dedicated on September 16, 1980, and was funded by Renton Rotary and Allied Arts. Richard Baer, who is one of the most prolific and beloved sculptors in the Northwest, is the artist. He was born in Virginia and attended numerous boarding schools and the University of Virginia. During World War II, he saw combat in Southern Europe. His first art creations were small pieces done for his own relaxation or as toys for his children. He worked for a time as a Boeing engineer, but quit to pursue sculpture. Many other works by this artist can be seen in the Puget Sound area. We Are All in This Boat Together is a brushed stainless steel sculpture installed in 1990 along the Cedar River Trail at the Renton Senior Activity Center. The concrete base it is installed on had been the base for the railroad bridge that spanned the Cedar River in that location. There is a duplicate concrete base on the opposite bank. The sculpture is intended as an ecological message that plants, animals, and people all need to live together and evolve together. The boat shape indicates a unity of connected relationships. The other forms suggest people, animals, and other living organisms. The artist, Harold Belays, creates art that is integral to the location, using the line to capture the shape and convey the energy of the artwork. Harold Belays was a 1951 graduate of Washington State University and has been named one of Washington's living treasures. By the mid-1960s, he had become the leading liturgical artist in the Northwest. Based in Spokane, Belays' architectural and public works can be seen throughout the Northwest. Belays also served for 3 terms as a Washington State Arts Commissioner and helped draft Washington State's Percent for Art legislation. If we could float up the Cedar River, we would find ourselves at Cedar River Park and Carco Theater, our next visit on today's City Art Walk.
We are at Emerging, located at the Carco Theater off the Maple Valley Highway in Renton. The artist is Hai-Ying Wu. Emerging was commissioned for the Renton Centennial Celebration, and the dedication was in April 2003. The work has 2 major components, 2 bronze cranes and stainless steel abstract forms. The beauty and gracefulness of the crane symbolizes luck, happiness, and peace. Their migratory nature represents endurance, determination, and hardship. These characteristics taken together represent the past 100 years of history of the city of Renton. Generation after generation meeting and overcoming historical challenges to fly successfully forward into the new millennium.
Hai-Ying Wu is a prolific and popular Northwest artist who lives in Everett. A native of China, Wu participated in the Tiananmen Square protest of 1989 and was caught in the square when the Chinese military attacked the demonstrators. He immigrated to the United States later that same year and in time became a U.S. citizen. Other pieces of his work in Renton include the Firefighters Memorial outside of Fire Station Number 14 and the mosaic benches in front of City Hall. Sharing the 23-acre community park with Carco Theater is the Henry Moses Aquatic Center. The mural, Duwamish, is located on the exterior entrance fence. The engraved and painted stainless steel metal art depicts the Duwamish tribe which fished the area before the land was developed. The scenes portray daily life along the edge of the Black River. It was important to the artist, Doug Keyes, to orient the artwork toward the historical native lifestyle to further honor the naming of the Aquatic Center for Henry Moses, last hereditary chief of the Duwamish tribe. Doug Keyes, a Renton resident, was born and raised in Everett. As long as he can remember, he has had an overpowering desire to draw and paint. As a youth, he wandered the waterfront and countryside, drawing and painting whatever he saw. He peddled newspapers in order to buy art lessons. After serving in the Navy, Doug was offered a job with the Boeing Company, where he worked for 35 years doing technical illustrations. His drawings, paintings, and murals have been shown in England, France, and China, as well as the United States. Doug is also a member of the Renton Municipal Arts Commission and has generously donated his talent and time to many city projects. In appreciation for his many years of service, he was named Renton Citizen of the Year for 2001. Continuing in our historical vein for today's City Art Walk, Our next stop is to the Renton Highlands Library. North Coast Indians was carved of western red cedar. The murals were commissioned in 1945 and were originally located on the Housing Administration building entrance. The panels were heavily defaced in that location and were moved to the Renton Highlands Library in 1973. In the 1930s, the artist James H. Fitzgerald began his career as a painter, then worked collaboratively on WPA-funded murals in Colorado. Until his death in 1973, Fitzgerald was among the leading modernist sculptors of the Northwest, exhibiting widely in major American museums. Coal Miners is an oil painting commissioned by the WPA's Federal Art Project in 1938. It hung for many years in the Renton Post Office before being moved to the Renton Highlands Library. It was given to the city in 1972 when the post office was remodeled and the painting could no longer be seen by the public. A published history of the WPA recounts that Renton's mural was unique because the artist actually ventured into the mine. Renton resident William Strain escorted artist Jacob Elshin deep underground and posed the miners as the artist sketched them at work. Jacob Elshin was born in St. Petersburg, Russia, and received his art training there. Following the revolution, he went to Shanghai, where he worked as a newspaper cartoonist for 3 years before moving to Seattle in 1923. Elshin was one of the region's most noted painters and teachers. His work has also been exhibited in regional, national, and international exhibitions in the United States, Brazil, Japan, France, and other locations. He won many prestigious awards, and his works are in the permanent collections of internationally leading museums. We now leave the peace and quiet of the library for a different form of peacefulness, that which can be found in running water.
This beautiful and refreshing fountain is located at the Maplewood Golf Course on the Maple Valley Highway. The fountain was donated by the Fred Meyer Corporation in 1995. The artist is George Tsutakawa, who is best known for his 60 public fountains in North America and Japan.
George Tsutakawa was born in Seattle in 1910 and sent to Japan to live with his grandparents at the age of 7. He spent much of his childhood there until he returned to Seattle at the age of 16. He earned a BFA at the University of Washington before he was drafted into the Army during World War II. Following the war, Tsutakawa returned to Seattle and earned an MFA at the University of Washington. He went on to join the faculty, teaching both in the School of Art and the Department of Architecture, serving until his retirement. In the late 1940s, he designed chairs, tables, lamps, and other items of furniture. The late 1950s marked a turning point in Tsutakawa's career. He returned to Japan after nearly 3 decades to rediscover his Japanese artistic heritage. That experience led to the form of art typified by Fountain 1960.
Mr. Tsutakawa read the book Beyond the High Himalayas by U.S. Supreme Court Justice William O. Douglas. In the book, Douglas describes the ritually stacked rock structures called oboes, left by pilgrims to celebrate a successful crossing of a high mountain pass. These rock forms served as a major inspiration for a series of Tsutakawa's sculptures and fountains. The Renton Fountain is one of his first works in this style.
Well, I've been here for 3 years, and I started out as a server, so I got to see people. It's a big hit in the summertime. Everyone loves the fountain. It's one of our attractions on our patio here. Everyone wants to sit around the fountain. They get the nice little spray when it's hot, and the ambiance of the music in the background is a great thing. A lot of people like tossing the pennies in it. A great backdrop on a beautiful golf course. It's an asset to our patio here. We love when it's running, which is primarily in the summer, the spring and the summertime. We shut it down for the winter. Even in the wintertime, it's beautiful in the snow, so.
From this oasis along Maple Valley Highway, we now head west through Renton. The next 2 stops on today's City Art Walk will show us 2 different ways of working with steel as the artistic medium. The 20-sided star-shaped steel sculpture, icosahedron, depicts 20 decades or the 200 years of our nation. It was dedicated on July 4th, 1976 as a bicentennial commemoration and contains a time capsule. The internal struts in the shape of a diamond represent Renton's 75th anniversary, which was also in 1976. The sculpture, funded by citizen donations, is located in Kiwanis Bicentennial Air Park adjacent to Renton Airport. The sculptor, Greg Parsons, had been working with the concept of the geodesic dome. He attempted to connect the dots from the inside in this project. Parsons was a 1970 graduate of Renton High School and received a BA in Environmental Design and an MA in Architecture from the University of Washington. He was also a member of the Renton Municipal Arts Commission while still a student. The star within a diamond shape can be best seen by looking at the statue's shadow or directly through it on a clear sky. Equi was designed by Alicia Fairbairn as a high school project. Students from 3 high schools and the 1988 Humanities class of Renton Technical College worked on the project to fabricate Fairbairn's design under the direction of artist-in-residence Drex Atkinson. The sculpture, made of welded steel rods, is a connected series of movements of a horse in outline from beginning trot to final leap over a hurdle. It is located in Burnett Linear Park. Women training for non-traditional jobs at Renton Technical College installed the artwork.
My name is Jeff Kern, and I'm an airline pilot for an airline out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And very often I get to travel to Seattle, Washington, and I purposely bid my trips for Seattle and this area. We stay close by at the hotel. And I love Renton, and one of the reasons why I like Renton is because of the parkway and the park, and especially the horses, the Equi horses that are displayed here. This particular piece of sculpture takes imagination, and for adults to have imagination and to step back to when they were children, because children have imagination, they can do anything and draw anything, and it's more difficult as we get older. So it's always fun to see artists and their concepts of what galloping horses might look like as they're running through a field.
Using student work for Renton Public Art was a departure from the standard policy for the Renton Municipal Arts Commission. It has become a much-loved part of the Burnett Avenue neighborhood. Our final visit for today's City Art Walk is to Waterworks Gardens, which opened in 1996. It is located at the Metro Treatment Plant at 1200 Monster Road Southwest. The original idea had been for a nature walk at the Metro Treatment Plant location. Through artist Lorna Jordan's vision of integrating art with the infrastructure and making the water treatment plant more accessible to the public, Waterworks Gardens was created. She worked with King County to create 8 acres of communal space that is interlinked with the treatment of stormwater. The site is designed to symbolize a large flowering plant. 5 garden rooms tell the story of the water cycle through the chain of human use and disposal. A path meanders through the park and connects each room.
The knoll is considered the root of the plant. The stormwater flows underneath the grate of the knoll, dominated by the basalt column colonnade. The funnel is a series of terraced, leaf-shaped ponds connected by the path or the stem.
Lorna Jordan's vision of art engaging communities with place and blurring the boundaries between sculpture, ecology, architecture, and theater resulted in the interactive Waterworks Gardens. Her environment performs as a green infrastructure, as a way to enhance the watershed and reveal the cycles and mysteries of water. The work points to a sustainable future.
At the bottom of the hill, stormwater cascades into the grotto, which resembles a sprouting seed pod. The undulating Shock Creek walls, covered with tiles, provide a place for repose.
Waterworks Gardens was the first major project in Jordan's career of creating public art that transforms and redefines landscapes and an individual's experience of connecting with their community. Prior to this living, breathing sculpture, Jordan's work was executed for gallery exhibitions.
The passage provides a calming experience as the path passes by a row of Lombardy poplars and 3 circular ponds that symbolize the fruit of the plant.
Jordan works collaboratively with design teams and functions as catalyst, conceptualist, and designer in order to transform a site. She immerses herself in the physical and historical characteristics of a location, as well as listening to the community aspirations to develop compelling works that are more than objects.
In the release, the cleansed stormwater is released into the narrow channels and ribbons of a wetland, and then into Springbrook Creek.
In the year since Waterworks Gardens was designed, Jordan has created more than 15 environments throughout the United States and Canada. Her work has received numerous awards, including a 1997 Place Design Award from Places Journal and the Environmental Design Research Association.
Waterworks Gardens has become a mecca for public art enthusiasts, landscape conceptualists, bird watchers, and families.
We hope you enjoyed this visit to some of the public art in the city of Renton. We invite you to visit these locations and more. You can learn more about Renton's public art and the Renton Public Arts Commission by going to artscommission.rentonwa.gov.